Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would do something a little different, something I haven't really done in the past, and it's something I've been requested to do over and over and over. And I hate doing this sometimes because, one, I always set myself up to make an ass out of myself because today, in today's world, truly legitimate naturals who are truly competitive or who make their living off of their physique and sometimes even coaching are the exception to the rule, not the norm. And if they ever get popped on a drug test and I've said somebody is clean, or someone comes out later and says, hey, I'm a personal friend of theirs, I know they use this or that drug, I've made a complete ass out of myself. So I normally don't do that. And the other reason is because it sets false expectations. When someone says, hey, what can I achieve naturally? Or is this person natural? Hey, take someone with better genetics than them. And if you have someone who has amazing genetics, I don't give a fuck how hard you work. You will never catch their results naturally. In fact, you might not even catch them on drugs. So one of the things I do point out is that I always discuss the fat-free mass index because I feel that that is one of the best indicators to determine if someone's natural or not. It's way, way more effective than a drug test because we know drug testing doesn't work. I've pointed out over and over how easy it is to beat drug testing. It's insanely easy. And I'll link some information down below discussing fat-free mass indexes, but generally speaking, the upper threshold for someone who's lean, which means 10% body fat or less, is around a 25 fat-free mass index. If anybody is lean and they hit 25.1 or higher, I feel very comfortable in saying, and most experts would agree, that saying that they're on drugs. They're on anabolic drugs. You shouldn't even need to debate it at that point. It's people under that where it becomes questionable because we know that that 25, even 24.5 to 25 for a lean person is a genetic freak. That is a person with really, really good genetics. I'm going to use for you guys an example of someone who I feel represents what is obtainable natural for someone who doesn't have really good genetics. Somebody with average genetics or even only slightly above average genetics. They don't have those freaky insertions and freaky muscle bellies, and they don't gain muscle at a much faster rate than normal people. Of what you can do in a decade of hard work if your training is on point, your diet's on point, your work ethic's on point. And the person I'm going to use for you guys today is Eric Helms. Now, yes, before some people point out, I am aware that Eric Helms isn't a lifetime natural technically. I am fully aware. I've had conversations with him about this. I've seen it linked. We got a discussion in a forum before to where he did a 4-week super drill cycle years and years ago. And yeah, he's admitted to all of that. And we know that he published that because he kept a log of it on bodybuilding.com. But guys, this was at least 7 years ago. It was a 4-week blast. And his fat-free mass index is well within the normal limits. And at the time, it was both legal and it was allowed in natural bodybuilding. Like if you tested positive for it, it would be fine because it was allowed. So let's set that to the side and let's point some of this out. Now, the things that also is useful is that we know the drug testing in bodybuilding is completely useless, but Eric also competes in the IPF. And yes, I know their drug testing is limited, but at the very least, because he's an IPF reasonably decent competitor, he's placing pretty well, and I think he's won a couple of lower level meets. He's actually won the whole meets in the overall, but because of that, he's going to be subject to out of season drug testing also, which is at least there's some chance of catching somebody on the off season. When you're tested and you know a test is coming, there's no way you could fail unless you're a complete moron. But at least people can occasionally get caught in the off season, so we'll put that as a point in his favor. Now, the thing with Eric, here's what Eric looks like generally off-season or a bit out from a show. And it's also important to note that at contest time, he is, if you put him at 5% body fat, he is 6'1". Now, he goes up to 220 in the off-season sometimes, but he's 180 pounds at contest time at 6'1". And if you plug him in at 5% body fat, that puts him just under a 23 fat-free mass index. That is what you can expect for a truly lean, ripped natty. That is a very reasonable number to reach for someone with average genetics after, 7, 8, 10 years of good training. That's very reasonable. That's very obtainable. And you'll notice, and if you look at his transformation here, this was a decade of work. This is spanning, I think, 8 to 10 years. This is his progress. You'll notice that when he is ripped and he is at 5% body fat, he doesn't have that muscle fullness. that you would expect from someone who's juiced up hard. If someone who's using anabolics, particularly very aesthetic drugs, when they're lean like that, they're going to look fuller, they're going to look thicker. When you look at him, you realize he really is only 180 pounds at 6'1". He doesn't look like, oh, he's actually 200 pounds or 210. No, he really looks 180. And on top of that, we know that he's a decently strong guy. If you look at his record last year at the Auckland, while he's working on his PhD work at the Auckland IPF Championship, he hit a 585 kilo total in a 93 kilo weight class. That's a very respectable number. It means that he's no slouch. He's actually a good power lifter. He's not a great power lifter, but he's a good power lifter. Those numbers are very well obtainable for a drug-free guy at his experience level who isn't particularly genetically gifted. Those are very reasonable and respectable numbers, but they're not so freakish that you're going to look at that and go, oh, this guy's got to be on gear. And so overall, for people who are saying, okay, can you give me an example of what someone can obtain who doesn't have amazing genetics, who isn't on drugs, if their training, their work ethic, and their nutrition are on point, what is an obtainable goal? I would use Eric Helms as an example because I think that pretty well covers it, because we know he knows his shit. His training programming he puts out online is usually really good, so he clearly understands training programming. He's decently strong. He's finishing up his PhD in nutrition right now, and he's done studies, he's peer-reviewed as far as actually studying diets in competitive bodybuilders. So this is someone who clearly knows what they're doing. They clearly train hard, clearly understand proper training programming and nutrition, and his results are what you can achieve if you're wanting to stay natural. This is a realistic expectation if you're willing to put in 8 to 10 years of hard work. So there you have it, guys. There is my example for you. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicephus.